On offense, a 1-2-1. There's some third man rotation. Some Futsal rotation, which is interesting. If the Futsal doesn't move, it looks like they want to play directly into the pivot. Well, the press with one. Second cover. There's third man steps, yep. Mixed zone. No changes. They go man to man. At least no automatic changes I can see. They go man to man below. They go man to man below the ball. No triggers, but they'll send the one presser deep, isolated. They do trap in the middle, although they also have a much more closed middle. It's not as expansive a zone, not as spread out a zone, not as big a diamond to the 1-2-1. I don't know what's going on here. They will press a little bit down low in the corners. That's pretty straightforward. That down low side press trap. So the interpretation of the corner is rather expansive to trigger press. It looks like when they lose possession, they regroup. So zone, zone, zone. Oh, that Futsal will step in front of the pivot, apparently. And no press trigger. The other team's in the corners, no press trigger. And no substitutions yet either, I don't think. Going on 6 minutes. All right, when they move the ball wide, they're going for the second post in the big zone, a big 1-2-1. It's like a zone attack. 1-2-1. They go for the second pose on it. So it's almost identical to Cheyenne with some minor adjustments. They play with the Futsal in that big 1-2-1. They don't ever overload. They kind of spread the floor. So one thing they don't do is, like Cheyenne on offense, is rotate. They play very positionally on offense. So they pass, try and beat you the first touch. They don't beat you the first touch, they dribble. Then they try and make a pass. Direct. And halfway through the first half, almost, we're getting our first subs. So there's a lot of dribbling. Again, the ball's moving slow, the decisions are slow, pace and tempo are slow. Always multiple touches on the ball. They tend to back check instead of counter press. So there's no cover on the defense. There's no cobertura. Kind of play the pivot. It's very dynamic. Pivot's very dynamic. They play zone. And anyone moving through the formation, they man mark. No switches. They'll press 1, cover 2, third man will step. Fuxo's tight on his man. Looks like they got a little more depth to them in terms of roster. When they do get in the 2-2, they don't check down. And they transition into their offense. So that was like almost like a 2-2/4-0. This guy passes and it's touch and go. Touch and go over the top. So they do have a transition out of a 2-2 into a 4-0 with touch and goes. They don't check down. They don't exchange. But they do touch and goes. So if they're in a 1-2-1 and then they go into 2-2, they're going to touch and go. Your response has got to be a zonal diamond closed tight around the pivot. As soon as you see it go from a 1-2-1 to a 2-2, right, they're trying to set you up for the 4-0. You can't be in your own 2-2. That won't work. So what happened there? So normally they set up in a 1-2-1 attacking. They go to a 2-2, touch and go, touch and go. The defense doesn't adjust. The defense stays in its own box. and they play through the box. So a couple things with that is if you find yourself in a 2-2 press immediately, they will double team the post, apparently, with the pivot.